You think their invisible satellite web just tells them where they are? It dictates every second of their fragile existence. May 1st, 2000. The US military unlocked civilian GPS, fundamentally changing Earth's entire technological evolution. A brilliant strategic deception. They believe this massive infrastructure is merely designed for simple navigation. When you observe this system, you see a map. But you must look much closer. It is actually the master clock, physically synchronizing their entire fragile global economy every second. Inside this chaotic server hub, Verne blindly relies on these invisible signals from outer space. 31 satellites broadcasting continuous trilateration data, a mathematically optimized constellation designed for absolute systemic control. The core hardware isn't a simple camera. It is a highly sensitive space-borne atomic clock, measuring cesium resonance to achieve nanosecond precision. This is a fascinating example of resource allocation, but this physical system faces a constant, invisible enemy, the relentless physics of Einstein's relativity. Earth's gravity and satellite velocity warp time. Without continuous algorithmic correction, their networks would collapse. Time dilation dictates that clocks in orbit tick slightly faster than clocks on the ground. A daily drift of 38 microseconds. An uncorrected error that destroys their targeting precision entirely. When you trace the data flows, you find everything relies on this absolute master time. Cellular networks, power grids, financial data centers, all physically tethered to this single orbital pulse. If the GPS signal fails, the global power grid physically desynchronizes within a few hours. Total infrastructure collapse. They have centralized their survival into one highly vulnerable point of failure. Yet the broadcast signal from medium Earth orbit is incredibly weak when it finally arrives, like a whisper in a hurricane. This is a critical vulnerability in their information warfare. This physical weakness introduces the modern threat vector, localized signal jamming and GPS spoofing tactics. Hostile actors broadcast fake coordinates. The zombies blindly follow the strongest signal into a trap. An automated ship or delivery drone can be hijacked without firing a single physical shot. Asymmetric advantage. You control their physical reality simply by controlling their internal perception of time. To defend against this, military-grade signals utilize encrypted, highly focused directed beam architecture from space. They mathematically reject spoofing attempts through cryptographic verification, a necessary adaptation for a hostile environment. But true strategic security requires physical independence from the satellite constellation entirely. A new backup. Enter quantum compasses. Cold atom interferometry enclosed within a rugged physical terrestrial chassis for ultimate security. These advanced devices measure atomic waves to track physical movement without relying on external signals. An unjammable, self-contained truth. The ultimate strategic evolution of their global navigational and timing infrastructure. When you understand GPS architecture, you see it's never just about knowing where you are. It is about absolute synchronization. The entity that controls the master time controls the system. Every financial transaction, every megawatt of power, marches obediently to this invisible orbital drumbeat constantly. They traded structural resilience for extreme efficiency, a classic optimization trap seen in failing civilizations. The zombies remain completely unaware, checking their screens while the invisible clockwork turns above them. They trust the infrastructure implicitly without verification, a fatal flaw in any truly competitive environment. Look at your own operational systems. Where is your unacknowledged, hidden master clock quietly ticking? You must identify your single points of failure before a strategic adversary actively exploits them. Because in the grand architecture of power, perfect synchronization is the ultimate invisible strategic weapon. How exactly would you exploit a system that relies on a single, fragile timing pulse? Tell us your tactical approach in the comments below and prepare for the next briefing. Analyze your dependencies carefully. The true battlefield is always hidden deep within the foundational infrastructure.